the last time I tried to start this a couple of minutes back. It kind of didn't start the broadcast. It just went straight into a tailspin, so to say. So we are starting. We were doing this session, which is a 120-day plan to crack CAT. How do you do it in 120 days? The key question most of you will be having will be that do we have enough time? And if we have enough time, how can, I mean, what is the most efficient way to actually do our preparation in the context of 120 days now, roughly 4 months left for the exam. So what should be the strategy? What should be the structure of preparation, etc. So without any further ado, let's get straight into the discussion of what I want to tell you about. But before I do that, those of you who are looking for a CAT training institution, you can check out Mindworks, and those of you looking for a test series also can check out our test series, which is available on the Mindworks portal, and this is basically what we call as the Arun Sharma CAT challenge. So you can have a look at this. This is a special offer for those of you who want to enroll today. You will get the my geometry master course free of cost inside this, worth $17.99, and you also get it only for $3,499 instead of $4,999, and this is valid only for today. So you can enroll. You can visit the website www.mindworks.in/ASCC. So that's the landing page. You can go there and look for it. So let's come back to the agenda for today. That's what we are more interested in talking about, all of you, I guess. And the agenda for today is basically, how do you crack CAT in 120 days? So a lot of people keep asking me this, specifically around this time of the year. Two questions. Is it possible? Two questions keep coming up to me. First is it possible? And the second question is, if yes, how? Right. So the answer to that, is it possible? The answer is, of course, yes. People do crack the CAT in 120 days also. How do you do it? What are the steps you need to take? That's what this seminar is all about, right? So the first thing you need to understand, I mean, typically when you look at if you try to analyze the preparation for an exam like CAT, people kind of prepare for around 4-5 months, and they do it through 2 phases. People prepare through 2 phases. First, they prepare for 4-5 months. By going through the basics and what can be referred to as portion coverage. Right? Basics plus portion coverage is what they end up doing in the first phase, and the second phase of preparation is where they actually go through the mock tests. Phase 2 of preparation is where they do the mock tests. They do the tests plus the analysis of the tests plus the rework required, reworking required, the portion coverage required, the further work required on the portion during this time, right? So what happens is, when you start taking your mocks, you start realizing that this area, even if you have completed the portion, those who have completed the portion 100%, they also realize कि once they take the test, they realize कि ये वाला area उतना अच्छा नहीं चल रहा है, this area is not working that well, etc. Right? So to understand how to do CAT prep in 120 days, you first need to understand that, okay, what does basics and portion coverage mean? What do we mean by this? Because if you actually look at verbal ability, reading comprehension, there's no theory in it. It is just problem solving. It's just problem solving, building your skills to the point where you can start solving those problems, right? So you build your skills. You really can't study theory much. Of course, you can work on improving your English language, but apart from that, there's no theory. There's nothing called theory of comprehension or theory of this thing. It's basically your ability to handle problem solving, or being able to see the right answer in a question. We look at DI, you look at LR. Again, in those subjects also, we really don't have very formal theory. You have bits of theoretical inputs here and there, but most of what you need to learn in data interpretation and logical reasoning is problem solving through problem solving experiences. So in data interpretation and logical reasoning, 100% of your learning is problem solving experiences. So when we talk about, or when you think of, okay, I need to do some portion coverage on DNLR, it does not go like you're studying physics and you're studying optics and you're studying this chapter and you're studying that chapter. It doesn't work that way. It is about problem solving experiences and equipping yourself with the skills required to handle the problem solving experiences. It's like when you're studying a subject like physics, you're studying a subject like economics, you can study theory for almost 6 months to a year before you apply it, right? But if you are trying to study a skill-based subject, if you're trying to learn how to play tennis, if you're trying to learn how to swim, there's no theory in it, right? There are principles, and somebody can instruct you about those principles maybe in half an hour, 1 hour. But after that, you got to get into the code, you get into the water, and you learn how to do it inside, right? While practicing it, while problem solving inside the situation. You get into the water, learn how to float in the water, and then you start learning how to this thing. Or in tennis, you start learning how to hit the forehand and how to hit the backhand, etc. Right? So it's not theoretical oriented. It's not like you go to a classroom and you sit and somebody teaches you. It's about getting onto the court and learning. So similarly, when you talk about a subject that has no theory, the learning that you do is mainly through problem solving experiences. So when we talk about basics plus portion coverage, we are talking about getting through around, in India and LR, we are talking about getting through 250 sets of problem solving experiences each. Because your maturity in data interpretation, logical reasoning, preparation wise can be measured essentially in terms of how many sets have you learned through, how many sets have you gone through, right? So when you're talking about the basics, doing the basics or doing the portion coverage of DILR, it's about due diligence in getting to those 250 sets of DI and 250 sets of LR so that you understand what it is all about, right? Of course, when you do the quants in QA, you definitely have theory. Every chapter has its own theory. And in QA, you have to study 20 chapters. In QA, you have to study 20 chapters, and you have to do the theory of those 20 chapters. But if you actually again look at what the CAT tests you on, doing the theory, if you do the theory well on each of those 20 chapters, you go into the CAT, you'll not be able to solve a single question on those chapters because 90% of the learning in QA, which has the maximum theory in CAT prep, 80 to 90% of the learning, if not 90 plus, but 80 to 90% of the learning in QA is through problem solving experiences. So what are the flowchart for preparation? So what I'm trying to tell you here is that when you're talking about cracking the CAT in 120 days, if you're talking about cracking the CAT in 120 days, the first thing you have to understand is that phase 1 and phase 2 have to merge. There has to be a merger of the two. You do not have the time where you say, okay, I'll prepare for 3 to 4 months. That somebody in January, February, March could do. But if you're starting in July, you do not have the time any longer to say, okay, I'll first do the portion and then get in the tests. It's too late for that. That ship has sailed. If you want to prepare for CAT 24, you have those 4-5 months. You've got 5 months. You've got 8-9 months before you can hit the test. But अगर तुमको CAT 23 के लिए serious हो, so phase 1 of preparation and phase 2 of preparation has to merge together. They have to merge together. They cannot be independent of each other, right? And hence, so what does it entail then? What does the preparation structure entail? What does the preparation outline entail? So the preparation outline entails, ultimately, when you talk about CAT, and Arka Prabha is asking me this question, what is an ideal score in mocks now? When you talk about CAT prep and CAT objective, preparing for CAT objectives, you basically start with the score target. You have to start with the score target. Okay, I want to score 90 marks, I want to score 100 marks in the paper. And the problem you're trying to solve is, how do I learn to score 100+ marks in the paper? I mean, you must have heard about my cracking the CAT 21 times. My percentiles have ranged between last 5-7 years. My percentiles have ranged between 99.9. In fact, all this 21 years, the first 10 years, they didn't get the outcome, the results. But my percentiles range between 99.96 to 99.99. It's always been in that range. So how do I do that? It's simple, because I can score 130 marks in the paper. So I have problem solved the process, or I have problems, or I have created the process for myself to be able to score 130 marks in the paper, right? So you will also have, I think there are some people from South India also have, so इसलिए मैं अगर हिंदी में कुछ बोलूँगा तो I will try to make sure that I also repeat in English. So you have to learn this. तुमको ये सीखना है कि 100 कैसे लाना है. How do I get 100+ marks? And to get 100+ marks, then you then have to first break it down. Okay, what is my strategy for 100? How much do I want to score in verbal? So this is the first part of the 120-day strategy, that you should have this target in your head on day 1. Okay? So how much do I want to score in 100 percentile in verbal RC? How much do I want to score in DILR? And how much do I want to score in quants? Right? 100 percentile comes at typically 135 marks overall. Verbal में 100 percentile 55 out of 72 के आसपास में आएगा. DLR में 100 percentile 40-45 out of 66 के range में आता है. And QA में 100 percentile comes at around 55+ out of 66. This is out of 60. And this is out of 66. That's the 100 percentile value. So you then have to fill these 3 numbers. What are my targets? And then your preparation has to be a mix of measurement. Suppose I have a measurement that I want 40 marks in QA. Let's say my strategy is 30, 40. So I need to first measure where I am right now. Rather than starting the 4-month preparation process of covering all the chapters and all the topics, I want to first measure how much I'm at. I might find out that I'm at 0, or I'm at -5, or I'm at 10, but I need to know. Because that's when, I mean, when you want to embark on a journey, a journey cannot be embarked on without knowing the starting point and the ending point. Suppose you want to get to, suppose I ask you, I want to get to Moscow. How do I get there? Your first question will be, where are you? Where are you? So if I tell you that I'm in Delhi, then I want to go to Moscow, then you can guide me better than if I don't know where I am, right? So it starts with the measurement. Okay, how much am I currently scoring? What is my current base skill? Because it's aptitude. So each one of you will have some base skill. Even those of you who are very poor, as I said, maybe it is 0 right now. Fine. It might be 5 marks. It might be 10 marks. Which you are, I mean, in 40 minutes, you can struggle with 3 questions and get through 3 questions. It might be at that level. Right? And then the journey starts from there in each of these areas. In quants, the journey is to cover the theory and to create problem solving experiences on each topic. In data interpretation and logical reasoning, the journey is problem solving experiences. In verbal ability and reading comprehension, the journey is problem solving experiences plus English language improvement. It's a 2-part journey there. Problem solving experiences plus English language improvement. So it's a 2-part journey. So this is what the journey consists of. Right? So when I talk about this slide is talking about the testing process. You have to plan approximately at least 40 full-length mocks from this point in your preparation journey. You will plan to take around 40 full-length mocks, and you also have to plan to take at least 10 to 15 sectional tests. A sectional test is a test of the full section. The CAT consists of 3 sections. So sectional test is that individual section as a full test, not sectional test. Please don't confuse the sectional test with a chapter test. Chapter test has no value at this stage in your preparation, because whether you're good at a chapter or bad at a chapter, that you come to know. I mean, a test is basically for diagnostic. It is also for practice. But its main reason why you spend time in test is to learn, to get diagnostics about where you're standing and what you need to do. So if you take chapter test at this point, it has no diagnostic value. Though it has practice value definitely, but has no diagnostic value. The only diagnostic value it has is ki, okay, you're good at this chapter or bad at this chapter, right? Which you anyway know when you're solving the level of difficulty exercises on the chapter. So the chapter tests have no value in diagnostic elements. So diagnostically, there are only 2 things. Ayushi is asking me, should we leave a job to prepare from August? Depends on what your journey is, Ayushi. How much basic work do you need to do? वैसे job छोड़ना, I think, is an okay decision because of the fact, 2 reasons. When you talk about job, even people who have just passed out, the 2 kinds of people in the class today, there are people who have just passed out this year and people who have been working for maybe a year or 2. So there are two points of call, or there are two points at which they check your work experience. One is the November CAT. In the November CAT exam, when the institutes shortlist you, yeah, I'm coming to that, to how to improve your scores. And I've taken a webinar on how to improve your test scores last week. It's on my YouTube channel. You can go and watch that also. So when you take your CAT in November and you try to create the shortlist, you try to get shortlisted at the different institutes. They look at how much work X you have. There are some there's some parameters that they look at, what your individual sectional scores are, what your 10th 12th scores are, and also how much job X you have, how much work X you have. But the work X they consider during the shortlisting process, all the apps, all the top B schools, the work X they'll consider during the this thing, is going to be only till 31st July. They're not going to look at work X beyond 31st July. So if you're taking a break from August, complete break, no job, it does not affect your shortlisting, right? That's first, right? Likewise, people who have just passed out, if you try to pick up a job in August, September, it's not going to affect your shortlisting because your work ex is 0. So don't, ideally you should not be working, if CAT 23 is a serious attempt for you, unless you were thinking, okay, 23, they came around 24, then I mainly, otherwise this August, September work ex will not count at the shortlisting point. So then the second point of call for job ex is when you go for the interviews in Feb, March. Then they look at your job ex typically till December, January this year, right? So my advice to you is that if you're sure that you want to get into a B school this year and want to go ahead, move on with your life, then you quit your job by 31st July, take a 3-month break, clean 3-month break, and pick up a job again in November or December. So when you go for your interview, you're not affected in the shortlist. And when you go for your interview, you're asking yourself this question, or when they ask you the question, what do? You are in a job. So there's a 3-month gap in between where you did not do a job, but that can be written off as self-improvement time, or it can be written off as time between jobs, etc. It is not going to count as gap, right? So a basic thumb rule. I've been at a lot of B school interviews myself as an interviewer. One basic thumb rule I tell people when they are trying to think about taking these kind of decisions. Of course, I cannot get into each one of your lives and tell you what to do and what not to do. But a basic thumb rule is जिसको तुम apply करके you can take the right decisions. The thumb rule is, if I can explain to myself what I was doing and why I was doing it, I can explain it to the whole world. No bloody interviewer has the license to ask me what I did and why I did it. Right? So just ask yourself the question: do you have a justification for yourself? Don't be apologetic for what you did. You have not committed murder for anybody. You've not killed someone and come to the interview. So don't be apologetic. Stop being apologetic. Be confident about what you are trying to portray, and just accept who you are and make them accept it. They will. Right? I can only, in an interview, I can only push you to a certain point if you allow yourself to get pushed. If you're not allowing yourself to get pushed, then I cannot push you as an interviewer. So then comes the point, okay, I'll come to your questions towards the end. Let me finish off concrete. I mean, as a public speaker, I've always realized that if I'm too driven by the questions coming into the question, then the main message is distorted. So let's get to the message. Let's complete the message that I want to give you before we go into your questions. Ayushi, I hope I've answered your question. Of course, I took that question because that's something which is part of what I want to discuss. So coming back, then okay, then how do I improve my scores? Because when you start your test, after around 5 to 7 mock tests, after a few sectional tests, your scores will plateau. Your score starts plateauing, and that plateau is dependent on your skill level, right? And your plateau there will be a plateau for the overall score, but there will be an individual plateau in each section. So the preparation then is to look at each of the sections, what my score plateau is, and how do I break out. So this is typically the graph that happens when you start taking your mocks. And the successful aspirant or the smart aspirant is able to break out and go to a different level plateau on the scores. And this is what the work needs to be for. The focus of the work needs to be for that. And there you do the theory of whatever you need to. So there will be some topics. I mean, when you do the theory in quants, 3 things happen. How many things happen? 3 things happen. When you do the theory, when you study theory, suppose you join our course and you go through my videos and our classes, live classes and video classes. When you do the theory, when I'm explaining a theory to you, three different things happen in theory studying. One is theory review. That means you know what the teacher is speaking about. You know what the book is talking about. It's just reviewing what you already know. Second is theory repair. So this means that this was something you knew, but it's got lost because it's been too long, or you're not so clear about it, and you need to repair that part of thinking, that part of your thinking. And I always talk about this: either the more clean you make your mind, the more cool and clear you make your mind, the higher a CAT score will be on each of the areas. And the third thing that happens when you do the theory is theory install. That means there's something that you did not know and you learned it for the first time, right? And if I'm teaching something, let's say in circular motion, if I'm talking about a number of meeting points kind of thing, for some people it might be a review, for others it might be the same thing, might be a repair, for others it might be an install because you never heard or thought that way, right? So anything I do, I mean, so you have, it'll be a mix. When you do the theory of the chapters, it'll be a mix of all this, right? And of course, the theory repair and the theory install is what will give you the delta, the jump in your skills. But as I told you, only 10 to 20% of your preparation is inside theory. 80 to 90% of your preparation is in problem solving experiences. 80 to 90% of your preparation is in problem solving experiences in quants. So you don't only do the theory. I mean, so when you go into a topic, you don't just focus on getting the theory done. Your focus is also to have problem solving experiences on the topic, so that one of the ways to convert marks in the exam is I've seen the problem. In quants, especially in quants and DI and LR, I've seen this question. That's one of the principal ways in which you convert your scores. You raise your scores, right? So and I've seen this question, I've seen this logic. These two reactions happen only when your problem solving experiences go up, right? So if your problem solving experiences are low, if your problem facing experiences are low on an individual topic, you'll always struggle at that topic. No matter how well you do the theory is not going to sort your issue out for you. Your issue is only going to get sorted after you finish the requisite number of problem solving experiences on an individual topic. Just give me a second. Right? So coming back, so the key question that then happens is, okay, problem solving experiences itself happens in two ways. They happen in two forms. They can happen in an assisted problem solving mode, and they can happen in a self problem solving mode. Please remember, the assisted problem solving mode is an assistance that you get to reach the point where you can self problem solve. And unless you have self problem solved 200 to 300 questions on an individual topic, self problem solved without any help, unless you have not solved 200 to 300 questions on a topic, you will not be ready for the exam. You will not be able to convert those questions in the exam. So you can keep doing assisted problem solving as much as you want. You can keep adding assisted problem solving as much as you want, with the objective of reaching this point where you become good enough to solve those 200, 300 questions on your own without help. The day you are done with that topic. And for that, I mean, that's what you need to do. And quants, of course, is across 20 chapters. Quants preparation is, of course, across 20 chapters. And those 20 chapters, I mean, you can think, I will not go into the approach or the chapters in it. The chapters belongs to numbers, they belong to arithmetic. You can look at it, my quants book, and look at the blocks of chapters. They belong to geometry. Arithmetic में 8 chapters हैं: average, allegation, percentage, ratio, proportion, time and work, time, speed, distance, interest and profit and loss. Geometry has 3 chapters: geometry, mensuration and coordinate geometry. Algebra has 4 chapters: functions, inequalities, logs and quadratic equations. Number systems is 2 chapters: number systems and progressions, the way I perceive it. And then you've got modern maths, which has got 3 chapters: population, combination, probability and set theory. So this is your this thing. So what I would suggest in a 120-day plan, I mean, see, most of your marks will come from these 4 areas. So in a 120-day plan, and most important is this and these 2 areas. So in a 120-day plan, you set aside 5 days per chapter for your first round on the topic. When I say first round on the topic, it means that you are going to come back to the topic for a second time for more problem solving experiences. You might come back to the topic for the third time for more problem solving experiences. Right? So, but you set out 5 days per topic for the first round, and your order should be arithmetic number 1, algebra number 2. 5 days per chapter. So in around 60 days, you should be completed with round 1, and this is parallel to your starting your mock tests, etc. 1 test per week, 1 test every 10 days, if not per week. So 60 days mein your round 1 should be done of these 2 areas. And arithmetic normally contributes or 22 questions in quants. Arithmetic will contribute 8 to 10 questions. Algebra will contribute between 4 to 8 questions. Right? The next 60 days, you should spend around 20 days in geometry. Right? Around 15 days in number systems for round 1. And during these 35 days, where you're doing round 1 of number systems in geometry, you should also, I'm assuming that you're starting off. This flowchart I'm giving is for somebody who's starting today. Aaj decide kiya CAT dena hai 20 din baad. So obviously, if you've already covered a little bit of this or a little bit of that, or maybe 2 rounds on one topic already done, in that case, of course, you have a little bit of advanced days. I mean, you have got, instead of 40 days, this might just take 20 days, etc. So you have a little bit of time on hand then. But I'm giving a plan, assuming that you're starting, you decided to take CAT just now and you're starting off your preparation, right? So you can modify the plan according to what you've already covered along with this. But one thing you need to understand is this topic of 3 rounds नहीं किया, वो टॉपिक तुम्हारा एग्जाम में फेल करने के लायक है. It is likely you fail करेगा तुम्हारे एग्जाम, right? So coming back. While these topics are important, it does not mean that you should leave the geometry or you should leave the numbers, because the flip side is that if you leave a chapter, जैसे algebra का logs chapter बहुत लोग छोड़ के गए थे 2018 CAT में, और 4 sitter questions आ गए थे 2018 CAT में algebra के, and 32 marks का 32 questions का paper था, वो 4 sitter logs के थे, वो कोई करके नहीं गया था क्योंकि वो याद ही नहीं, they had not even done the 2-hour work, 4-hour work. These 4 questions on algebra on logs was doable for somebody who had just spent 4 hours on logarithms. You did not need more than 4 hours of work on logarithms to be able to do those 4 questions. People had not spent those 4 hours on logarithms, so ये चारों question नहीं हुए, तो 28 questions से paper हो गया. और इधर 28 में arithmetic जो बार-बार करके गए थे लोग, इस पे bank कर रहे थे, वो arithmetic tough हो गया. उसका difficulty level LOD3 पे लेकर चलो. So क्या हुआ कि 12-14 क्वेश्चन, 32 क्वेश्चन का पेपर होता था, 12-14 क्वेश्चन अरिथमेटिक से आ रहा है, जो कि लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी 3 का है, वो सॉल्व नहीं हो रहा है, और हर 5वां क्वेश्चन लॉग्स का आ रहा है जो तुमको आता नहीं है. So end result क्या हुआ कि people went into a tailspin, the paper went into a tailspin. So that's the danger of leaving things out. So I will not suggest leaving things out. So during this 35 days, your round 2 of arithmetic and round 2 of algebra should come back. And when you visit a topic for round 2, you're only doing it for problem solving experiences. You're trying to go back to questions which you could not solve in round 1. So it's maximum 1-2 day visit. That's it. So देखो, already number system में 2 chapter है, 15 दिन दे रहा हूँ मैं. Although number system is a big chapter, but you can see 7 days per chapter कर दिया मैंने यहाँ पे. Geometry 3 chapters at 20 days. I'm giving you 7 days per chapter, right? And then last may you come back to modern maths. The last, I mean, this even if you cover towards the end of October, 95 days, you still have 25 days left. You can spend 10 days during the last 25 days to cover round 1 of modern maths, एंड उसमें भी फोकस मोर ऑन सेट थियरी. सेट थियरी मॉडर्न मैथ्स में 3 चैप्टर, एक सेट थियरी है. सेट थियरी तुम रीजनिंग में भी करोगे, और दूसरा परमुटेशन कॉम्बिनेशन, तीसरा प्रोबेबिलिटी है. प्रोबेबिलिटी में ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस आते नहीं है. पीएनसी यू ऑलवेज हैव क्वेश्चंस ऑन. So permutation combination you can actually pick up and do a couple of times. And I mean the third rounds will maximum take you what, one day, 4 hours. Third round तो ऐसा होता है कि आज सुबह बैठे 3 चैप्टर का, और शाम तक third round complete हो गया, right? So that's what it will be. So if you're doing 3 rounds on the topics, you just have to do this, and you have the time to do it, right? Permutation combination first round will take you what, 3-4 days, 5 days maximum, because it's very flowchart oriented, the subject, right? So that's what the process is. And you keep coming back, and parallelly as you keep covering chapters, you keep coming back to see whether your test scores are improving or not. So you have a lot of value to what you do, because it has to directly reflect in your scores. DLR may you think in chunks. DLR, as I told you, there's no chapters. So while in LR you can start with question types, DI also you can start with data representations, pie chart, bar chart, etc. Maximum 15 days on individual data representations. Or initially, जब देखोगे, if you're going with my book, you'll not be able to solve the level 2 and level 3 questions, because they are tougher. They are not meant for starters. So the idea is to spend 15-20 days max on the individual topics, on the individual data representations in DILR, in DI, and then move to mixed experiences. And your target is to get to around 200-250 sets. And this 200-250 sets of experience of data integration problem solving, split between traditional DI and logical DI. In LR, you can spend around 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks on the question types. The 7-8 question types that you want to cover to start it off, to start your LR off. There are puzzles, arrangements, rankings, team formations, set theory, network diagrams, etc. Right? See, when I'm saying 15-20 days, how many hours a day is not, I mean, I don't believe much in measuring hours per day. I believe more in terms of getting the work done. So जब तुम काम करना शुरू करते हो, तो फिर उसमें घंटा देखना बंद करो, right? You are not a good boy because you have studied 3 hours a day. It's not that. And 120-day framework में you have to get work oriented rather than task oriented, rather than time oriented. So it's not something which करना है खत्म करना है, right? मेरे को अगर आज अपने बुक का रिवीजन करना है और ये चैप्टर खत्म करना है, तो खत्म करके उठूंगा मैं, right? So that's how you have to work. 120-day framework में अगर तुम टास्क ओरिएंटेड, टाइम ओरिएंटेड करोगे प्रिपरेशन, तो नहीं होने वाला है. इट हैज टू बी टास्क ओरिएंटेड. ये 3 दिन में कोई चैप्टर खत्म करना है, राइट? और एक चीज इसमें कि व्हेन यू डू द प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग ऑफ द LODs, it might happen that you might not be able to solve all the questions, so that's okay. When I say level round 1, it does not mean that round 1 में सब question सब chapter का तुम खत्म ही कर दो. It will not happen. So you might have a 70% solving rate to start with, and that's okay. You can start with a 70% solving rate. जो क्वेश्चन नहीं सॉल्व हो रहे हैं उसको छोड़ते जाओ. 10 मिनट का टाइम फ्रेम से ज्यादा मत स्पेंड करो क्वांट से क्वेश्चन में. और DILR के जब क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर रहे हो, सपोज तुम LOD2 ट्राई करते हो पाई चार्ट का, या LOD3 ट्राई करते हो पाई चार्ट का, तुमसे सॉल्व नहीं हो रहा है, कीप अ 15-minute लिमिट. 15 मिनट में क्वेश्चन नहीं हो रहा है, तो यू हैव टू एक्सेप्ट दैट दिस क्वेश्चन इज अबव व्हाट योर लेवल ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज. So the idea is to get strong. It's like you go to the gym and you want to lift 150 kilo, you want to deadlift a 50 kilo weight, and you try to do it and you can't do it. So what is the answer? How do you make sure that you reach that level of strength? You work on your strengths, you do exercises for your strength, and then you come back and lift the 50 kg. It's not that you leave it. आज के लिए छोड़ देते हो, लेकिन वापस आके तुम उसको उस चैलेंज को पिकअप करते हो. उसी तरह से जब कोई क्वेश्चन तुमको चैलेंज कर रहा है, तुमसे सॉल्व नहीं हो रहा है, इट्स बियॉन्ड योर करंट लेवल ऑफ स्किल एंड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, leave the question, come back, get stronger and come back, do the other exercise, do a strengthening exercise and come back. You will come back stronger. So in LR, 4 to 5 weeks of question type solving on individual question type, and then followed by mixed. And you can add your sectional test on DILR during your first round only itself, because इसमें कोई rounds नहीं है. इसमें it's just about, I mean, your DILR preparation is both these. As I told you, there's no theory in it in these subjects, so don't try to look for theory. The theory, if any, in DI is based on quants only. LR में तो और कोई theory नहीं है. It's mostly problem solving skills and structures. So you measure yourself on three things, three arrows. One measures is how much assisted problem solving, and these all measured in the unit to be measured in is number of sets. How many sets of questions? As you know, DI or LR mein, every question has every set has 5 questions, 4 questions, between 4 to 6 questions. So how many sets of questions have you gone through in assisted problem solving mode? In self problem solving mode, the number of questions you have tried, and in self problem solving mode, the number of questions you have solved. So 3 things will be looked at, 3 numbers you keep track of. And typically general thumb rule is 50 to 70, 250, 180 to 200. Once you reach this point, these numbers, you can then start measuring कि अब और मेरे को कितना करने की जरूरत है. उसके बाद अगर जरूरत पड़ता है कि you still not scoring in DLR, then you have to think in chunks. Chunks मतलब, suppose you faced an exam in which you could not do, let's say you got stuck in a DI set and you could not solve it. It was a logical DI set, you could not solve it in the exam. 15-17 minutes got wasted. So it's an indication, it's a marker that you're not good enough to handle the paper when things get out of hand. So then you think in chunks. Okay, let me add 50 questions, 50 sets of DI. तो वो फिर झटके से करना पड़ेगा. चलो एक हफ्ते में 50 सेट करता हूँ, because I'm facing this problem. So if I'm solved, it's like you go into a match in tennis and your backhand is not working. Your forehand is working fine, but your backhand is not working. You're making mistakes in that. What do? You come back to the coach. You tell him, okay, feed me the backhand. I want to hit 10,000 backhands in the next 2 weeks. So the next time I go for my next match, I'm ready for the backhand. It's the same thing, right? You have to think like an athlete. So think in chunks. LR mein you get stuck in a question, you're not able to solve it. Pick up 50 sets of LR, do it within tough 50 sets, pick them up and do it within 10 days. Source, you can use my books. Source, you can also use the mock test papers from any institute. उसमें अच्छे quality question मिल जाएगा तो. So that's what you do for DILR. And last, verbal में क्या होता है कि if you think, and I'll come to questions after I finish this last 3-4 minutes that I want to talk about. Verbal में, when you talk about verbal, तो verbal में, of course, in verbal, when you solve a question, two things happen. Two things might happen. Two alternates might happen. Two alternate things might happen. You get the question right, or you don't get it right? Okay. So you have the problem you're trying to solve in verbal is that there are 3 kinds of students. X को 5 question दो, Y को give 5 questions in verbal, comprehension, parajumbles, odd man out, last sentence, whatever. Fill in the blank with the last sentence. Give them 5 questions each. X will get 4 to 5 correct. Y will get maybe 2 to 3 correct. And Z will get 0 to 1 correct. So, by default, if there are 5 questions with 4 options, if you don't read the passage, you don't do anything, you just mark A for all the 5 questions. On an average, you can expect around 1.25 correct, right? Because 1 in 4 questions will go right. So this is the average expectation. If you're getting between 0 to 1 right out of 5, it means you don't even have you don't have any advantage of solving. This guy's got a solid solving advantage. When he solves, he goes from the default number of 1.25 to 5, right? He goes on the default from 1.25 to 5. So X has a solving advantage, Y has a little bit of solving advantage, Z has no solving advantage. So you are preparing for solving advantage. When I solve the question, I should get to the I should be able to see the right answer. So when you're preparing for solving advantage, you do two things. You basically try to see what is the reason why you're getting this wrong, and you have to attract, you have to this thing, you have to solve, you have to target the reason. So what do I mean by that? So if I was in Y's place, or if I was in Z's place, the first investigation I would do would be that if I've got unlimited time, will I be able to get 4 to 5 out of 5? So I want to first check I want to do is this. Even for Z, if unlimited time में मेरा कितना सही होता है. So if there is a yes to this, it means that I have the solving ability inside me. It's just that under speed, under pressure, I'm not able to do it. So my work has to be to learn to do these things faster and retain the precision when the time goes down. But if unlimited time, I'm still at 2 to 3, or worse, 1.5, I have no solving advantage even in unlimited time. Even 2 out of 5 is not really a solving advantage in unlimited time. It's kind of almost no advantage, no solving advantage. So if I'm at 2 out of 5 in unlimited time, then मेरे को आता ही नहीं है सही करना. मुझे सही तुम कितना भी time दे दो. It's like अगर मैं 150 किलोमीटर पे बॉल को कवर ड्राइव नहीं मार पा रहा हूँ, तो मेरे को पहले चेक करना चाहिए कि मेरे को कवर ड्राइव 80 किलोमीटर पर आवर पे मारना आता है कि नहीं. अगर 80 पे नहीं आता है तो मेरे को कवर ड्राइव सीखना पड़ेगा कि कैसे, व्हाट इज द फुट पोजीशन, व्हाट इज माय बैट पोजीशन, वेयर शुड माय हेड बी, एक्सेट्रा. 80 पे मारने आता है तब फिर स्पीड का इशू है, राइट. सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट इन्वेस्टिगेशन you should do. And in case, I mean, and typically I've seen that when X gets 4 out of 5 right, or 5 out of 5 right, Y and Z do not, there are 4 reasons that you need to sort out. The first reason is the English language reason. The second, third, fourth reasons are solving reasons. What are these reasons? Right? Thanks, Mohit. So this of course, I mean, you get this perspective when you have trained for 25, 30 years and spend your entire life doing this. So the English language reason is कि do I comprehend? मेरे को comprehension नहीं है. Author is saying cat is chasing the mouse, और मेरे को दिख रहा है mouse is chasing the cat. Right? So if that is the problem, then obviously it's an English language reason. So you need to go back to check whether it's a vocabulary issue. So should you be working on your vocabulary actively? There are 2 ways. Vocabulary सबको काम करना होता है. एक active work होता है vocab का, एक passive work होता है. Active work होता है तुम word list उठा के कर रहे हो और aggressively कर रहे हो. You are trying to learn 20 words a day. Passive work on vocabulary जो सबको करना चाहिए is when I'm reading an article, I come across a word, I don't know what that word means, so I try to look at the dictionary or try to make a mental note of that word, look up the dictionary, look at the meaning, and then I remember that meaning specifically. So that is passive work in vocabulary through reading, right? You also need to see whether you need to do phrasal verbs, get off, get in, get out, get into, ये सबका क्या फर्क है, right? So phrasal verbs करना है कि नहीं तुमको, idioms करना है कि नहीं, तुमको idioms आते हैं कि नहीं language के, right? Alive and kicking has a very different meaning to the I mean, idioms का advantage वो क्या हो जाता है कि the sum of the meaning of the idiom is different from the sum of the words. So A, B, C, 3 words, if they are individual words, A plus B plus C is the meaning of that. But when ABC is an idiom, the meaning is more than that. I mean, somebody is asking me about Hindi, तो हिंदी में एक मुहावरा बोलता हूँ, मुहावरा and idioms is the same thing. वो मेरा कान काटना. So if I use this idiom, कान काटना, so the sum of the words, the meaning of the sum of the words, AB, is somebody is biting my ear, right? But you know the meaning is actually something else completely. So do you need to do your idioms? Is another question you'll ask yourself is your comprehension. Of course, you'll need to learn to read 800 word passages. This is the limit. You don't need to learn to read novels. You have to retain your comprehension for 600 to 800 words. So that's the next part. So this is the work if your comprehension is missing, right? Of course, you keep doing this work also so that your comprehension becomes faster. If you're doing a passage in, if you're getting 100% correct in a passage in 10 to 12 minutes, you want to bring it down to 8 minutes. So you still want to do that. You still do this work for that, right? Then comes the solving reasons. The solving reasons are you did not understand the question. You misread the options or you did not understand the options. And you did not do the question option match. So what happens a lot of times in CAD RCs and high quality RCs, you'll see that you have options which are correct according to the passage, but they are not an answer to the question. So a lot of people get trapped in this trap. So the question option match, if this option is right, but does it answer the question which is being asked, is a key element of what you look at. So these three things you have to then check. और question नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, is it a focus issue? If it's a focus issue, you get more focused on it, you'll start eliminating this error. Or is it an understanding issue कि तुम्हारे पास capability नहीं है? Capability नहीं है तो you go back here and work on it and hope that it will work for you. That's the flowchart basically in English, right? But broadly, you first have to build that ability of getting 5 out of 5 correct without time limit in each question type. राइट पैराजंबल में शायद होना मुश्किल होगा बिकॉज डिफिकल्ट पैराजंबल्स विदाउट ऑप्शंस थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है करना बट एटलीस्ट इन कॉम्प्रिहेंशन एंड क्रिटिकल रीजनिंग इन अदर क्वेश्चन टाइप्स यू कैन एक्चुअली गेट देयर ठीक है सो दैट वाज all that I wanted to talk about. Those of you who are looking for a CAT coaching, I mean, I am somebody who never tells anybody to join us, join me or not join me for your training programs, etc. But yeah, well, my job is to make sure that the quality of what content we give you and the structure we give you is superior to what you get at other places. So that's the job I do, and I'm good at doing it. And so my only entreaty to you is that if you are considering joining a CAT training institute, do consider Mindworks. Find out why we are good, what we do, find out the process we adopt, and if it makes sense to you, you can of course come in and take our courses. Do follow me on my YouTube channel with the name Arun Sharma, and I'll be coming up with some content. I have been on a personal mission to actually get fitter. I picked up my tennis game, and I've lost around 10-12 kgs in the last 4 months playing very aggressively. It was very important for me to do that, which is why I've been missing from YouTube for the last 2-3 months. I now plan to, since my fitness journey is almost where I wanted it to be, I plan now to be regularly available. So I'm planning to take up questions and from the CAT papers and solve it for you. Right. So yeah, it's been a good journey. I took I mean, that's how you do. I mean, you have to problem solve in life, right? I took a decision that I want to be 17 kilos lighter. I took that decision around 4 months back in March. So I've completed 10 kgs of the journey. I still have 7 to go. And now I'm pretty confident it's happening because once you've done 10, you know the algorithm of what works in a 1 week period to get rid of the weight, etc. And of course, more than the weight and how you look, it's much more, at my age at least, much more important about what you're doing to your body. Right. Yeah, I will definitely upload this on my YouTube channel. And you have to, I'm open to taking questions. You can put your questions now. Okay, let me start taking questions. Is it important to solve LOD3 quants? See, depends on your score and your score target. In my view, to get to 35-40, you can avoid the LOD3s. If you want to score 40 plus, then maybe LOD3s of arithmetic, algebra you should do, right? The test series is available. You can our test series is available on mindworks.in/ASCC. This is the URL. So you can go ahead and buy it from there. This is the URL, mindworks.in/ASCC. We call it Arun Sharma CAT Challenge because I designed the test. So we will think that our test series is quite strong. I have not really taken, but I took some people do send me questions. I was looking at some of the time questions and this thing. Not very impressed with the quality they are now maintaining. LOD3 DILR में थोड़ा avoid करना थोड़ा dangerous हो सकता है because there might be one LOD3 set and if you spend 25 minutes in that, quants में you can avoid the LOD3 questions in the exam. There might be 5-7 of them. If you're solving 15 questions, you're scoring your target is 30-35. You'll get 15 questions of LOD1-2. But DILR में disadvantage ये हो सकता है कि अगर तुम LOD3 में फंस गए और तुमको उसको fight करके निकलना and you've not built your ability, then you'll get stuck. Pull marks, they have stopped the pull marks platform. You will have to contact McGraw-Hill for that. Pull mark, they have come to a new platform with a new edition of books. ठीक है? Job के बारे में I've already talked about Ayushi. You can take a job gap now. ठीक है? Read novels. I don't think you should be reading novels. And Hindu किसने बोल दिया तुमको? Hindi will not help you completely. How to comprehend better? See, the basic logic is comprehension के लिए your focus has to be on understanding, on the ability to understand language in sentences. If your sentence comprehension becomes good, your para comprehension, your passive comprehension will automatically get better. ठीक है? Disadvantage for freshers in CAT? No disadvantage. Just if you're a fresher, plan a 3 to 5 year journey. And CAT is IIM is not a getting out of college course. You can get to an IIM 3 years, 5 years, 7 years after you're passing out also. So give yourself the time and the space, and allow yourself to try to do the best you can. Right? The test series basically will be we release typically one test a week. There's a release schedule where we'll be having 25 full-length mock CATs. We have 15 replicats of the original CAT papers. So we give the 2017 to 22 CAT papers as tests in the exam, and we've got 10 section tests on each section. So these three are the most important. And we also have something called a CAT scan. But again, CAT scan is more like an area-wise test on each question type, on each part of the portion. So you can check your growth on individual parts through the CAT scan. But the main tests are the full-length mocks and the sectional test and the replicats. And of course, we also have mocks. These are separately given to you along. These are part of the ZAT and MAT IFT tests, etc. This thing. IIM calls depends on which IIM you're targeting. Typically, if you're targeting 99 percentile, you want to score 90-95 plus. Okay. Books, etc. You have to buy from the market only. We don't give books in them because most students who come to us already have some version of the book also. So we don't have the books in our course. So that you have to take from the market. Parallel, DI and LR has to be parallel to each other. You can't be one after the other. Right time to start mock tests 1 month ago. RC के लिए sources, comprehension improve करने के लिए sources, Guardian, Economist, Aeon, etc. New York Times, high quality writing. You can also follow blogs, etc. of good writers. 2-3 years old material might not work because I update my books every second year for each book. And if you have got a book of 2020, it means it would have the updation based on 2018 or 19 CAT. So depends on which book it is. So 5 years का CAT, last 5 years का CAT उसमें reflected नहीं होगा. So I would suggest you pick up the last ones. My books are available, the 10th edition in quants, the 8th in data interpretation, the 10th in verbal, and the 7th in LR, 8th in DI, and also I also have the previous year papers chapter wise. That book is also there. हाँ, तो नहीं हो रहे हैं अगर LOD2 तो तुमको स्ट्रॉन्गर होके वापस आना पड़ेगा उस पे, सेकंड थर्ड राउंड में करो. Previous year papers, as we do in our replicats, what we do is we put the previous year papers every third or fourth test in between, so that you have ample, because we have 15 replicats, we have ample number of papers which we keep giving you, and we want you to look at the diagnostics of this. So if you take 2 or 3 previous year papers every month from now, in between your mock tests, you keep coming to know exactly कि CAT paper में तुम्हारा score कैसा आएगा. ठीक है, चलो ठीक है, चलो, thank you so much. Yeah, you can take the test series, Wali. So the test series is available on that portal. Chalo, I hope you guys enjoyed this session. This was instructive to all of you, and I hope I could give some value in the hour we spent together. Thank you so much. Bye. Yeah, you'll have to get better, Bilal. I mean, raising speed is about being able to read only once and solve. That's the principal source of speed. If you're reading 2-3 times before you're solving, that means you're weaker on the uptake. The uptake needs to improve. Chalo, bye-bye. वो अपने आप होगा. As you practice more, it'll improve. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. This will be available on YouTube maybe in a couple of days' time. So thanks for attending.